Something massive is happening quietly inside the global financial system, far away from headlines, far away from social media noise, and far away from everyday market updates. But inside, central banks and government vaults, the people who control the world's money are preparing for something serious. Something history has shown always comes before major currency shocks and financial resets. While most people are busy watching stocks rise and fall or chasing short-term trends, central banks are acting with urgency by buying huge amounts of gold at levels not seen in decades. And at the same time, confidence in paper money, especially the US dollar, is slowly being questioned behind closed doors. This is not coincidence. This is preparation for long-term financial instability. Before we go deeper, take a second to like and subscribe to Vault Stress Report, because this channel breaks down the hidden financial signals that usually appear before major economic shifts, and staying informed now can make a huge difference later. Throughout history, whenever debt gets out of control, whenever inflation destroys purchasing power, and whenever currencies start losing trust, gold becomes the ultimate protection asset, surviving every financial system collapse while paper money fades away. Central banks understand this better than anyone, which is why countries across Asia, Europe, and the Middle East are rapidly increasing gold reserves as a shield against rising currency risk and growing debt pressure. When the very institutions that create money begin protecting themselves from that same money, it tells us they see serious problems forming inside the system. For decades, the US dollar has dominated global trade, energy markets, and international reserves. But quietly, that dominance is being hedged as more countries settle trade in local currencies, reduce dollar exposure, and build alternative financial networks. This slow shift is called de-dollarization, and while it doesn't happen overnight, history shows that reserve currency power always fades gradually before sudden instability appears. At the same time, global debt has reached historic highs, with governments borrowing trillions just to keep economies running, especially after massive money printing during crisis periods that temporarily boosted markets but quietly fueled long-term inflation. Prices of food, housing, energy, and everyday essentials have surged, showing exactly how currency stress slowly spreads into real life even when officials claim inflation is under control. No nation in history has ever printed unlimited money without damaging its currency's value, and this reality is now catching up with the global financial system. Another major warning signal is gold repatriation, where countries are bringing their gold back from foreign vaults into domestic storage, preparing for situations where trust between institutions or nations could break down. Physical control of assets matters during crises, and this behavior usually appears only when long-term financial risk is rising. When we combine record gold buying, exploding debt levels, persistent inflation pressure, weakening currency trust, geopolitical tensions, and global financial fragmentation, we see the same pattern that appeared before previous monetary disruptions throughout history. Currency shocks never arrive suddenly. They build quietly over years before triggering rapid economic shifts that catch most people by surprise. This does not mean the dollar will collapse tomorrow, but it does mean the world is entering a period of financial transition rather than long-term stability. Every major monetary transition in history has brought volatility, recessions, currency pressure, and wealth redistribution. And the current signals suggest we are moving into another such phase. Gold's growing role reflects the need for assets that hold value without relying on government promises, debt systems, or political stability, which is why central banks trust it when uncertainty rises. Geopolitical conflict, trade wars, sanctions, and supply chain disruptions only accelerate this shift by weakening confidence in global financial cooperation and pushing nations toward financial independence. Many experts now believe the future will involve a more balanced global system where multiple currencies share influence, while gold plays a larger reserve role again. These changes will not be smooth, and periods of instability are almost guaranteed as old systems slowly adjust to new realities. Central banks are positioning years ahead, not reacting to daily headlines, and their massive gold accumulation is one of the clearest signs that they expect long-term monetary stress. Their actions reveal far more than public speeches ever will. The purpose of understanding these signals is not fear but awareness, because those who recognize systemic risk early are better prepared mentally and financially when volatility increases. This is exactly why Vault Stress Report focuses on what institutions are doing quietly rather than what markets are doing loudly. By the time panic reaches headlines, the major financial moves are already finished. Right now, we are still in the early phase where preparation is happening behind the scenes. Gold buying is not hype, it is policy, and policy always reflects future expectations. The dollar is not disappearing, but its unquestioned dominance is slowly weakening, which historically always leads to periods of financial turbulence. As volatility rises, markets may swing harder, inflation may return in waves, and governments may introduce major financial reforms to stabilize systems under pressure. All of this is normal during major economic transitions. The key takeaway is simple. Central banks are not preparing for normal business cycles. They are preparing for structural change in the global monetary system. And whenever structural change arrives, financial shockwaves always follow. If you found this breakdown helpful, drop a comment below with what you believe comes next, whether it's long-term inflation, a debt crisis, or a major currency reset. Share this video with someone who should understand what's happening behind the financial headlines. And make sure you resubscribe to Vault's Stress Report for more deep dives into the stress signals shaping the future of the global economy. Because the biggest financial shifts always begin quietly, long before the world is forced to pay attention.